Okay, let us start with the session of the lecture 4. Okay, I think lecture 5 is going on. In previous session, we have seen on the spot and forward rates. In today's session, we'll be seeing something on the market participants who normally operate in foreign exchange market. So first thing is that you should know the clarification, the clarity of the market participants who mostly deal in FEM, right? So we know that the foreign exchange market is a market where one currency is traded for another. It means the currency has been priced in terms of another currency that we have seen earlier. You should know that the foreign exchange market, it is nothing but the over-the-counter market. Over-the-counter market. Over-the-counter market. We know that before the electronic dealing systems, the currencies were traded mostly on over the telephone or telex, you can say. The trading of currencies were done through telephone. So mostly the majority were only the bankers. It is nothing but the interbankers, the interbank transferring the differences of the exchange rates. So if we can say earlier, there were the direct dialing of a telephone service where the exchange rate will be determined by the banker. And if it seems like we have the exchange rate was like globally, it was like global. If you can see that if one bank ends their regular business, say suppose in San Francisco or Los Angeles, if they end the bank, close the bank on the day, simultaneously the bank in Singapore or maybe the Sydney or Tokyo, the bank will open. The same way, the timing was more important, right? If you say that the business day of bank which opens in London, Paris, or Frankfurt, whatever maybe it is, simultaneously there was a bank closure in New York and Chicago, whatever maybe it is. But only thing is that the monetary centers, right? The monetary centers, right? This was mainly connected through the telephone network. Telephone network. Right. Now we know that you already have read your foreign exchange forex chapters. So I will not be getting into more detail on that because that is you people know that, right? So we'll be getting into the syllabus part only. So you should know who are the market participants. The market participants mostly play in the FEM or can say the foreign exchange market. I put it in a more simpler way so that you people understand that, right? So I put it like a level. There are several levels. So I'll put it every level where you can know what is the main thing over it, right? So we have level 1, level 2, level 3, right? So first thing is that the base, or I can say this is the level 3. I put it level 1, okay? I don't want to confuse you. I put it as level 1 as base. So this is the first level where mostly the participants will be the traditional users. Traditional users. So who are these traditional users we are talking about? So these are your tourists, your importers, your exporters, and your investors. Right? Normally what these people will be doing, they will be exchanging the Domestic currency, I put it as DC, domestic currency, and converting it to the foreign currency. So as a tourist, you will be getting into US, or you had booked some holiday vacation in US, and you want to travel the next month, and you require the dollars. So what you do, you approach the local bank. Okay, you want to buy dollars, so we have to ask him how much price have to pay for the dollars. So bank will be specifying the particular exchange rate. Normally, if you go to a broker, he would be giving you the which is the lowest exchange rate. If you go to a banker, he will be charging you the higher exchange rate. So if you approach a banker, there will not be any options for you, right? Because bank has to earn the differences. What they have to earn something, the benefit out of you. So if you go to a banker, you don't have any choice to say that, sir, I want to just have this type of exchange rate to have a purchase my dollars. That cannot be done. If you go to a broker or a dealer, he may be having these several rates. He is only the intermediary who buys and sells currency. So he'll be having the several exchange rate which is listed in his kitty, right? So he'll be giving you the list of the exchange rate where you want to deal with the dollars. So that is the option for with the dealing with the brokers or the dealers. But when you go to a banker, you don't have any option. Whatever the banker says the rate, you have to pay the particular price in rupees, and you have to purchase your dollars. So normally, even the base level one, we have the traditional, you have the traders and the speculators, right? Traders and speculators. Speculators is nothing but they are the people who have fun in the market, right? So normally, if I say the traders, I can split the traders as the individuals, the investment managers, or the treasurers, right? So I put the traders as nothing but your the individuals. So we are the individuals. If we want to trade in currency, we would have get into the currency by or by downloading any apps or dealing with the broker, right? So individually trading the currency, or it may be the investment managers, okay, to manage their portfolios. And we have the corporate treasurers, corporate treasurer, right? So corporate treasurer is the banker who manages the day-to-day cash. So that is very important. They have to maintain the margin limit for the reporting to the RBI. So you have know something on CRR and SLR and all. So they have to meet the criteria which is set by the regulatory body. The second next level I can say is that the level two. Level two is mostly we deal with only with the commercial banks. So what I said that first thing, what you will be doing as a trader or an individual, you will be approaching the bank. So in the level two, you'll be approaching. So those are your commercial banks. These are your commercial banks. So what is the role of this commercial bank in this? So normally what they act as only the clearinghouse. They act as the clearinghouse, right? So they act as clearing house between the users and earners of foreign exchange. Users and earners of FX. I put it FX, right? I put it FX, foreign exchange. So normally they act as only the clearing house between the users and the earners. Normally they have to do the clearing part, right? So how much whether the account has been debited, whether the account has been credited. So this is a thing that the commercial banks be playing the role. The same way they will be also playing the role as the traditional users. They like they could be the traders also. They could be the speculators also. So it's up to the bank, depend upon the business they operate. So next level, I put it the next level as the level 3. So level 3 is nothing but the what I said, the foreign exchange brokers. Foreign exchange brokers. I put it foreign exchange brokers. So what is the role of the foreign exchange brokers? We know that the whole nation normally depends only on brokers, right? So because they know how far the exchange rate works. So these people are like trackers. They track, they have all the list of the exchange rates all over the world. They have in their system, okay, where they'll be having the trading platform where they know what are the currencies which has been listed and what is the price it has been trading. So they are the specific trackers of the exchange rates. They know how much exchange, how much arbitrage can be taken as an advantage. So these people knows that they are more concerned with that, right? So what is the purpose of this people? Normally, they normally even out the foreign exchange inflow and outflow for the banking also. Okay, so they act as the I can say even they even out the FX inflow and outflow, foreign exchange inflow and FX outflow. Okay, so they even out the FX inflow and outflow. So nothing but they know about the interbank systems also, right? They know the interbank system. Interbank system in the sense, I'm not talking about the bank's internal procedures. They know how far the exchange rate has to be settled completely without any hiccups. So that is what I'm talking about. So that is what the interbank settlement or the wholesale bank settlement, right? Next comes your level 4. Level 4 is nothing but your central bank. So central bank, what is the main purpose of central bank? Normally, they'll be the buyers and sellers of the last resort. We already know that what is the role of an RBI. So I put it as the central bank. Okay, so it acts as a buyer or seller of last resort. Act as the seller or the buyer of last resort. If you find any tightening of liquidity in the money, or I can say if there is a tightening of reserves, so then there will be the role play which is done by the central bank, where they will be increasing the sale of currencies in the exchange, right? Or I can say that could be said as the upper intervention point. Okay, so there is a certain track which is done by RBI. I can put it the upper intervention limit. Then you have the lower intervention limit, right? So that is the, I can say this is a barometer. Okay, so a particular reserves will be checked by the RBI. Okay, it has to say whether it have to see whether the limit of your the currencies, the foreign currency should not outflow or should not get outflow out of your country. Okay, so there is an upper intervention limit. Suppose you have a lot of foreign exchange, then it means that it will lend it. The same way it is tightening the liquidity, it will strictly monitor and ensure that the currency will flow smoothly without any hiccups. So that is the role. This is important actually. It has been asked in your examinations, right? So this is about your market participants. So let me get into the before getting into the derivatives part. Okay, tomorrow we'll be getting into the derivatives and risk management, right? Today I'll be getting once again with your the basics of your FX only, right? So we already know, but something you have to know before getting into the arbitraging operations, right? You people have to answer me because you already learned the basics of this one. So we'll be getting into the some of the terminologies normally used in the so bid and offer rates. Bid and offer rates. So we already know that when we come to the bid and offer rates, so we have two parties in an exchange market, two parties, two prices, and two currencies. So everyone knows that. Okay, there will be two parties, two prices, and two currencies. So let me put it the term only on the market convention. So I'm not putting it in the common layman's terms here. We'll be getting into the market conventions. So in the as per the market conventions, we have the banks normally who will be dominating in dealing with the exchange rates. So we have the quoting bank and a calling bank. When I say there is a two parties, we have a quoting bank and there is a calling bank. A quoting bank and a calling bank, right? So the quoting bank is nothing but who quote the prices. Okay, who quotes the prices? Put it simply, who quote the prices. Calling bank is nothing but these banks normally calls to the quoting bank and ask for the price. Ask for a price, right? Suppose the calling bank requires the dollar, okay, which is a commodity currency, and it wants to know the terms of the terms currency, which is rupee. I put it TC and I put it CC, right? The calling banks requires a commodity currency. It will be asking the what is the price of the commodity currency. If it fits with the bank, then okay, it will purchase the commodity currency, which is a dollar, from the quoting bank. So the quoting bank will be having the list of exchange rates in as per the dollar, and he will be giving the terms currency to the calling bank. And calling bank, if it is okay, they will accept the rate or the pricing of the dollar, and the deal is done. If he is not satisfied with the quoting bank, he says that reject. So it means that there is no transaction cost. Normally, it is done through a phone call. Okay, there is no transaction cost involved in this. You make a phone call, you ask for the rate. Quoting bank says these are the following rates. If you're satisfied, then you have to say yes. When it is yes, it means the deal is done, right? So it means that we, in the market terms, we have the two parties in the same way. We have the price maker, and we have the price taker. So these are the market conventions I'm talking, right? In the terms of market convention, you have to talk. We have the price maker is nothing but the quoting bank, and the price taker is nothing but the calling bank, or it could be the, I put it more simpler, price taker could be the customers also. Price taker could be the customers also, right? So price maker is nothing but the banks. Okay, they normally give you the quotes. Okay, they normally give the quotes for the interest rate, and the exchange rates. Interest rate and exchange rate. So normally what is the price takers? Normally the customer, what they normally do? They normally borrow the currency, or they borrow the loan in dollars, or they lend, or they buy, or they sell. So this is the only operations they normally do, the customer, right? So we already know the price which is given by the banks is a two-way. So one is your bid rate and one is your offer rate, that you know actually. So here you have to be a little bit cautious when in the money market, okay, the bank will be giving you the rates. Okay, so the bank will be giving the quotes. Okay, quotes, suppose they give the quotes for the 3-month dollar, 3-month dollar. Okay, but the same, interpret the same way what we have earlier seen. Suppose 3%, or I can say 3.25% per annum. Okay, suppose the bank quotes in the money market the 3-month dollar 3% and 3.25%. So here the same thing. Okay, here the bank quotes is nothing but the quoting bank, the price maker or the quoting bank, which gives you the quotes of a 3-month dollar. So how you have to interpret it? So in full, you have to interpret that the quoting bank is saying that it is willing to borrow dollars for 3-month dollar. So, or it is going to borrow the 3-month dollar at a rate of 3% per annum. In the same way, it is going to lend dollars for a 3-month at a rate of 3.25%. So you're getting it here. The quoting bank, I put it as QB. Okay, the quoting bank is saying that it is willing to borrow dollars for 3 months at a rate of 3%. The same way, it is going to borrow, okay, 3-month dollar at a rate of 3%. In the same way, it is going to sell the 3-month dollar, or not sell, is lending. It is lending, okay, it is lending the dollar at 3.25%. So you're getting the point. So here we mean to say that it is nothing but your bid rate and it is your offer rate. Okay, it is your bid rate and it is your offer rate. I put it more simpler way of this thing. I put it here, the bid rate and offer rate. Why I'm telling you is that because we have to deal with derivatives. So you have to be more familiar with the interest rate also. I'm not getting into too much detail, but when we are getting into derivatives, people have to know what is it actually. So suppose the quote is given as 3.3% per annum and 3.25% per annum. Okay, so here we have the price maker and the price taker. Okay, so if people have to say at what rate the quoting bank will be borrowing the dollar, a 3-month dollar. People tell me at what rate the price maker will be borrowing the dollar.
Sir, bid rate.
Bid rate, yeah. So it borrows the dollar at bid rate, which is 3% per annum. The same way, the price maker will lend the dollar at the offer rate, which is 3.25%. So for the price taker is nothing but the customer or the calling bank. So normally it is the vice versa. He will be lending the dollar at this rate and he'll be borrowing the dollar at this rate. So this thing you have to remember. Okay, he lends the 3-month dollar at the quoting bank's rate and he borrows the dollar at quoting bank's offer rate. So that you have to interpret. So this thing will be given in the trading screen actually. So you have to be more concerned with it. So it is with respect to the money market where you can get a loan for the dollars, right? So next thing, when we come to the foreign exchange market, the same thing what we have earlier seen in our previous sessions, right? When it comes to the FEM, I put it a very simple quote over here. The quote is nothing but suppose €1 is equal to US dollar 0.8410 and I put it as 0.8415, right? I put it here, the price maker is nothing but the quoting bank and the price taker is nothing but the calling bank. Right now, this quote is given by the price maker, which is a quoting bank. You have to tell me at what rate the price maker will be buying euro. The same as previous one only. It will be buying euro at what rate?
Sir, 8410, sir.
Yes,
bid rate.
exactly. Yeah, bid rate. So as per the quoting bank, they will be buying euros at the bid rate and they will be selling euros at the offer rate. The same way as a price taker, they will be selling this euro and they will be buying the euro. Right. So this jargons to be a little bit known to you. It is very, very important. Okay, I'll put one more example and you people have to answer me. Suppose the bank quotes, put it more simple, US $1 equal to, suppose it is given yen 125.50 and 125.60. Okay, you people have to tell me the answers. Okay. Okay. At what rate the quoting bank will buy dollars?
Sir, at 125.50.
So it is nothing but you have to write, you have to tell me the bank's bid rate. Okay. So the quoting bank will be buying dollars at the quoting bank's bid rate, which is nothing but 125.50 yen. Right. Once again, I'm asking this question. At what rate the quoting bank will sell dollars?
125.60, sir.
125.60, sir.
Yeah. So the quoting bank will do the offer rate, which is nothing but 125.60 yen. So once again, I'm asking you, at what rate a calling bank will buy dollars?
125.50, sir.
Yeah, okay. It's a calling bank, right? So the quoting bank bid rate or the offer rate will be 125.60, right? Once again, I'm asking the question, at what rate a calling bank will sell dollars?
Is it 125.50?
125.50, sir.
Yeah, so it is 125.50, which is quoting bank's bid rate. Okay, quoting bank's bid rate, which is yen 125.50. So once again, I'm asking you the question. You think and tell. Okay, it's very easy. At what rate the quoting bank will buy yen? At what rate the quoting bank will buy yen?
So probably buy in a lesser rate, so it will be 0.50, 125.50.
So yeah, you're sure?
So probably if they buy it in a lesser rate and sell it in a more rate, they'll be able to get a certain bit of profit. So that concept, I think, probably they can buy it.
So which rate is applicable? Which rate is applicable over here?
125.50, sir.
It's quoting bank's offer rate or bid rate?
Bid rates.
Bid rate, sir.
Bid rates or offer rate? I'm asking you at what rate the quoting bank will buy yen?
Sir, bid rate, sir.
Bid rate, no, sir.
Bid rate or offer rate?
Bid, I guess it's bid rate only.
You
Bid,
listen,
sir.
the question I'm asking you what is the rate at which the quoting bank will buy yen? Quoting bank will buy yen. Yes, it is offer rate. Okay. So what you have to do is that if the question has been like this, okay, that you have to ask, you have to do a switch, right? What rate will the quoting bank will sell dollars? To think of those angles, right? You'll get the answer. So for this, you have to do the quoting bank offer rate, which is nothing but the yen 125.60. So once again, I'm asking you a question. At what rate will the quoting bank will sell yen?
Sir, bid rate, sir.
Bid rate, exactly. So the quoting bank will sell the yen at the bid rate, which is 125.50. Right now, at what rate the price taker will buy yen?
Sir, ask rate, sir.
Are you sure? I'm
Yes,
asking
sir.
you at what rate the price taker will buy in.
Yes, sir. The bank will add some premium and sell it to them, sir. So it is the higher rate, sir.
Don't think about the premium and all. I'm asking you to specify which rate is applicable. We'll later get into the premium and all.
Rest of the offer rate.
Offer rate, sir. Yes, sir. Ask rate. Sorry, sir. Offer rate.
I'm asking the price taker, not price maker.
Sir, I think same only, sir. Offer rate, sir.
Or I will put this question some other way. At what rate the price taker can sell the dollars?
Sir, bid rate, sir.
So bid rate will be the answer. So why people are confusing here? So in this cross rates, cross exchange rates and all, you don't have any the easier way of, so because the cross, whenever the cross rates is there, you have to interpret more carefully. Then same question, at what price the, okay, again, what rate the price taker will sell yen?
Ask rate, sir. Offer rate.
Offer rate, okay. Offer rate, it's nothing but 125.60. First we interpret this, then we get into the premium and all, okay. First you have to know how to interpret, because we have lot of exchange rate that will be listed out, and it don't mean that everything will be given in only as per the current norms. Okay, these people are clear what we have discussed till now.
Yes,
okay,
sir.
so you people know how to interpret it is very important. Let me get into one more thing, a simple example. Suppose, okay. So we'll be getting into some the taking advantage of the rate differences. So this will help you out to see whether there is any arbitrage position can be taken in the market. Okay. So before getting into the arbitrage, we know how far the bank is getting benefit out of the differences of the rates from the bid and ask. So what we call the term for the difference between the bid and the ask rate, or the bid and offer rate?
Sir, is it spread?
Yes, it is spread. Okay, we want to see the why there is a requirement of spread. If what will happen, the spread is higher, and what will happen, the spread is lower. Okay, whether the dealer will be having the preference over the higher spread or the lower spread. Before getting into that, we'll be getting the same example, and you know what? Okay, let me explain with an example, and it is easy for us. Let us put the same example. In the money market, the 3-month dollar. Okay, put it more simple. I don't get into more complication. You put it bid rate and put it offer rate. Okay, put it the same thing, 3% per annum and 3.25% per annum. People have the calcium in your hands. Okay, and we have in the foreign exchange market. Okay, the euro has been quoted, €1 in terms of US dollar. The same thing, I'll put the value 0.8415 and 0.8410. Okay, put it more simple. I don't want to put it more into complex. Okay, no. Put it. Let us get into more arbitrage part. Okay. Suppose you have the quoting banks, the quoting bank. Okay, it borrows say $10 lakh, $10 lakh for 3 months. Okay, and it wants to lend the $10 lakh for 3 months. Okay, you people tell me at what rate the quoting bank will be borrowing the $10 lakh for 3 months.
Sir, bid rate, sir.
So what is the rate?
Sir, 0.8415, sir.
Okay. No, I'm not asking about the exchange rate. You have to tell me the borrowing of lending and money has to be contained with the interest.
8,41,500.
No. I'm not asking about foreign exchange. Here I'm asking you at what rate the quoting bank will be borrowing dollar and what rate the bank will be lending dollar. So when we come into the lending and borrowing part, we have to deal with the money markets interest rates. So these are your interest rates, right? So these are your interest rates. So these are your exchange rates. So don't confuse with it. It is your interest rates and it is your exchange rates.
Sir,
so
then
here we are
3%, sir.
It is 3%. So let me put it in a simple account format so that we understand what is happening over here. Okay, let it put this side to be the positive inflow of cash and this to be the negative inflow of cash. Okay, here we are dealing with dollar account, right? Suppose in today, I put it T, right? First, we are going to borrow the $10 lakh. So we'll be having the $10 lakh in your account the same way, the same day for 3 months today. Okay, today we are dealing, right? So in the same way, there is an outflow of $10 lakh. So here we have taken the rate as 3% for borrowing that we have to pay the interest for 3%. The same way for lending, we'll be getting the 3.25 interest. So when it comes to the end of third month, so you people have to tell me. So at the end of third month, so what will be the borrowed amount that has to be written with principal amount? How much is the borrowed amount that has to be written along with the principal? You getting the point or not? It comes around what? How much? How much? Huh? See, 10 lakh into the 3% for 3 months. So how much is the interest that we have to pay?
So 7,500, sir.
7,500 is the interest. Okay, along with the principal amount. So which is 10 lakh. So what will be the outflow of your cash? So I put it as negative over here. Put it negative here. So negative amount will be 1,007,500. Okay, this is the outflow of your cash. In the same way, what is the you have lent the dollar at 3 months. So what will be the interest that you will be receiving?
So is it 8,125?
Okay, so it is 8,125. Okay, so along with your principal amount which has been written back. So you'll have in your hand 125. So what is the profit we have earned?
1,06,25, sir. As in 8,000.
You only tell me the profit. You leave the principal amount.
625.
Yeah. So the profit is 625. So this is the profit we have earned. You've seen the difference of interest rates. We done a transaction, okay, and we benefited out of it. Nothing we have done. We have done only speculation, right? So this is what normally the quoting bank and the calling bank will be doing. Simply they'll be, what is the thing they are doing? They're only transferring the profit, not the real money over there. Okay, the differences of the exchange prices will be transferred from one account will be debited and one account will be credited. So sitting blindly, you will be earning a profit of $625. Okay, what is the effort you have taken? So you're seeing only the differences of the exchange rate. So not the interest rate, right? But it comes to the exchange rate. Okay, so I put it in easy. Okay, we'll go cheaper first, then we go to costlier. Okay, we have the exchange rate. €1 is given in 0.8410 and 0.8415 is your offer rate. Okay, now in the same way, when it's the same bank, normally this is a calling bank which is doing here. Okay, the transaction. See how much the calling bank is earning the profit. The same was the calling bank see the exchange rate like this. Okay, and you're going to get a benefit out of it, right? Now, what the quoting bank will do? Normally, the quoting bank or the calling bank, okay, will buy. Suppose it buys 10 lakh euros. Okay, 10 lakh euro. Okay, from the, or I can say the calling bank is buying from the quoting bank. Maybe see there are like interbank. Interbank nothing but there may be a quoting bank, there may be a calling bank, there may be a quoting bank, there will be a calling bank, there will be a calling bank, there will be a quoting bank. So it's like interbank systems. Okay, you don't know with whom this transaction is happening. Okay, it's entirely built with the dealing system, exchange dealing system. Okay, so you don't find, you cannot specify a particular bank to be a quoting bank. One bank may be a quoting bank, another bank may be a calling bank, another bank may be a calling bank, or another bank may be a calling bank. Okay, you cannot, because every bank does not have the list of all the exchange rates. So every bank will be having specific exchange rate with them. So it's like the wholesale market where you go, which is the vegetable which is available to you. In shop, you want to see buy an onion, you don't find the another shop where you will be available with the tomatoes. So you have to go to next shop to buy the tomatoes. In the same way, you go to next in the tomato shop, you ask for the beans. They say that we are not dealing with beans, sir. You go to some other place. So once again, you go to another shop. It's like that, right? Let me complete this example quickly. Okay. See, suppose the quoting bank buys the euro, okay, and it wants to sell the euro, the 10 lakh euro. Okay, at what rate it will buy the Europa? The quoting bank will be buying at what? Bank will be buying the euro at what rate?
0.8410, sir.
Yeah, 0.8410. Okay, let me put in account type. We'll complete the example. I will tell you what is the concept I'm talking here. Let me finish it quickly. So we are dealing with the US dollar account. Okay, it is negative and it is positive. It is, I put it negative and positive. I think you can carry it. Okay. So here, first thing, what in the today's spot market that we are going to treat today. So here we are buying the euro. So I put it 10 lakh euro. The same way we're going to sell euro, the spot. So I put it the negative euro, 10 lakh in the spot. Okay. The spot rate, we have already determined that we have to buy euro at 8.108410. In the same way, we have decided to sell the euro at 8415. Okay. So when it comes to the end of the exchange position, the end of third month, the exchange position has to be determined. Okay, you have to determine the exchange position. So US dollar exchange position. So what will be the net exchange position at the end of the third month? How much will be the outflow? So you're going to buy this one. How much will be the outflow of your dollar? So this is your euro account. Okay, this is your euro account, and this is your dollar account. So how much will be the dollar outflow? How much will be dollar outflow? What you are doing, Pa? We are buying only euro, no? So for buying euro, what you have to pay in return? You have to pay what, dollar only, na?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Then what is that to think? We are dealing with the euro account, and how much is the dollar account there will be outflow. So we have to pay how much? You multiply it. How much we are getting? Negative 8410. 1?
841,000.
500, sir.
Okay. So this is the outflow of your euro dollar. So what will be the inflow of euro dollar? So here we have still the euro dollar. So at what rate the bank will be paying as the dollar?
8,41,500.
Yeah, 8,41,500. So what is the square position bank will be doing? The quoting bank?
500.
500 is square. Okay. So this is the profit that bank has earned, the quoting bank, right? So total profit that it has earned is nothing but the it is stated in more the interest money market and in the foreign exchange market. So within a single day, how much it has earned the profit?
1,125.
1,125. Okay. So this is a profit within a single day the quoting bank has earned, right? So this is the
1,125.
Okay, 1,125. 1,125. Okay, 1,125 is a profit that the quoting bank has earned without any effort. So this is what the exchange rate that you have to minutely have to monitor. Okay. So this is the what process we are involved. We are involved in the process of arbitraging. Okay, we are involving in the process of arbitraging from which rate where we can find the differences and we can get the benefit out of it. So that is what we are dealing with it here. So this is what the process of your arbitraging. So we have a lot of arbitrage covered interest arbitrage. We have triangular arbitrage. We have a complex arbitrage. We have arbitrage risk. So we have a lot of arbitrage. We'll be getting later into that. Okay, but this is the process of what the quoting bank normally do. So what is the purpose of spread then? So what will happen if the spread is higher? Okay, suppose we have two banks. I will complete this example, the class. Okay, the bit conceptually it will take a lot of time to understand. Okay, so suppose the bank A, put it B is bank A and BB is bank B, right? Suppose the bid rate which is given by them is 8411 and 0.8414. The same way, the bank B gives you the rate as 0.8405 and 0.8420. Okay, suppose this has been €1 is been given in terms of US dollars. So the term currency is nothing but these are your dollars, right? So these are your dollars. Okay, so the euro is a commodity currency, has been priced in terms of dollar. The bank A gives you the bid rate like this, and the bank B gives you the difference. So you tell me which is having the wider spread and which is having the narrow spread. Which banks give you the higher spread and which banks give you the lower spread?
Sir, does the second one have the higher one?
Yeah. So here the second one we have the wide spread. How much points we have over here?
Difference is 15, as in 8-4.
15, yeah, 15 points. 15 points we have.
15 points.
So
and
we
the
have
other
the
one is
15
3 points.
Yeah, other one is where we have the narrow spread. Narrow spread. Okay. So if you're a trader, which bank you will be preferring while using your arbitraging operations? Answer me, quick.
So the second one, because I have a higher chances of earning profits.
First one or second one?
Second.
Okay, normally it is nothing but the bank is giving you the aggressive quote and this is your non-aggressive quote. Okay, when there is a narrow spread, it means that there is a high turnover. When there is a wider spread, it means there is a low turnover. At this situation, what you will be doing? Will you go for bank A or bank B?
Bank A.
Bank A only. Okay, that's why bank will never give you the higher spread rate. Okay, so because the liquidity is very important. We are not investing the amount over here. Liquidity is very important. So when there is a high difference of spread, who is going to buy your currency? If you bought and kept it, who is going to buy it? Okay, so when the difference will be going to affect it. It's really difficult because we have to get into the less than your 15 points, it will be less than 10 points. Then only there is a situation of flow of money. That's very important. So bank normally never stretches its points more than 10. Okay, if it is more than a 10, then no one will be buying that, right? So this is what the thing that I'm going to discuss. So then we have some other thing to be discussed tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to see about the exchange rate techniques, risk management techniques, okay, with some of the case examples. So I'll be sending the case examples today. So today what we have discussed is something on the basics of the who are the market participants. Then we have discussed about the bid and offer rate interpretations. Then we said about the bank quotes, okay, the calling bank and the quoting bank. Then we have said something about the spread and the arbitrage differences to be found. This is very, very important. It's 10 mark, okay? It's a 10 mark one. Is there any clarification to be done? So time is running out. Nagarajan, any clarifications to be done?
No doubt, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, right. So with that, I'll be ending the session. Okay, thank you.
Will
So will you be sending the notes?
Yeah, I'll be sending it, Pa.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, sir.